This video is going to recap on how to find a percentage of a quantity, and I'm going to slightly simplify one of the approaches we learnt to bring it more into line with what you're going to use in secondary school. So we're going to look at an example. There were 400 seats on an aeroplane. 60% of the seats were in economy class. How many seats were in economy class? So the first method we're going to look at is the one that I have slightly simplified from what we learnt in class. So we're going to start off, we have got 100% is 400. This is what you would have drawn into the model. But we're not going to find out 50%, 25%, 10%. We're just going to go straight to 1%. And we do that by dividing the 100% by 100. So 1% is 4 seats. To then find the 60%, we're going to divide the 1% value by 60. So 60 multiplied by 4 is 240 seats. And this has a particular name, and this is called finding the unit rate. We have talked about the unit rate already at one point this year, and this is something you're going to hear much more of in secondary school. So there is another method we can look at, which is we multiply the percentage as a fraction. So we are finding 60 hundredths of 400, 60% of 400. So we set up our multiplication, 60 over 100 multiplied by 400 over 1. The 100 and the 400 cancel down by dividing by 100 to 1 and 4. And we end up with 60 multiplied by 4, which is 240. 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. Divide it out, and we know that there are 240 seats. Let's look at another example. Maria has 1,200 goats, chickens and ducks all together on her farm. 20% of the animals are goats and 45% are chickens. How many ducks are there on the farm? Well, we know 20% add 45% is 65%. If we take that away from 100%, we know that 35% of the animals are ducks. So we're looking for 35% of 1,200. So using our first method, the unit rate, 100% is 1,200, 1,200. 1% is 1,200 divided by 100, which is 12. 35%, 35 multiplied by 12, 420 ducks. Method 2, 35% converted into a fraction and then multiplied by 1,200. 35 over 100 multiplied by 1,200 over 1. These both divide by 100, so we cancel them down to 1 at the bottom and 12 at the top. And we end up with 35 multiplied by 12, which is 420. 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. 420 ducks on the farm. Sarah's weekly allowance was £15. She spent 25% of her allowance on Monday. How much money was left? We want to find out how much was left. So 100% take away 25%. She's got 75% of her money left. So we're trying to find 75% of £15. So looking at our unit rate, 100% is £15, which we're going to call 1,500 pence, because it's easier to divide by 100. So 1% will be 1,500 divided by 100, 15p. 75%, 75 times 15p, is 1,125 pence, or £11.25. Method 2, 75% is 75 over 100. We're finding 75 hundredths of £15. 75 over 100 multiplied by 15 over 1. This time we're going to simplify our 75 over 100. As we mentioned earlier, that simplifies down to 3/4. They both divide by 25. 3 times 15 is 45. 4 times 1 is 4. 45 divided by 4, back to a lovely division. We have £11.25. Okay, Okay, so those are the two methods that you need to be familiar with: finding the unit rate or multiplying the percentage as a fraction.